just released a brand new ebook entitled Reply All. It's a great way to show you're done making mistakes by naming a book after something people do by accident.
That's the late show Stephen Colbert last night on the Republican presidential candidate. Bush says he spent up to 30 hours a week on email when he was Florida's governor. But now there's a messaging platform that can minimize the need for email. Slack has nearly 2 million daily users and a private market valuation of nearly $3 billion. Clients include a range of government agencies and private companies. The service launched last year and is considered one of the fastest growing business apps in history. Stuart Butterfield is the co-founder and CEO of Slack. Stuart, good morning.
Good morning.
The New York Times calls Slack the office messaging app that may finally sync email.
It may finally sync email. So Slack is a messaging app, just like iMessage, SMS, Hangouts, Skype, those kinds of apps, but specifically designed for use by teams and principally in businesses. And the difference is that the default mode of communication inside of the organization becomes public. So if you're using email, it doesn't matter if you're the CEO or you're an intern on your first day, you have this really narrow slice of everything, and everything else is opaque to you forever. Using Slack, you can have a look at what's going on across the organization. So if you, for example, work in the marketing team, you can see what the salespeople are dealing with. If you work in the technical operations team, you can see what the customer support team is dealing with. And that kind of lateral transparency is a really new thing for most organizations.
Yeah, they say that Slack stands on the precipice of product mega fame. What is the mission statement, Stuart, of your company? What do you want to do?
It is to make people's working lives simpler, more pleasant, and more productive. So it's not you might not think it's a grand ambition, but it's to the extent that we're able to do that, even a little bit simpler, a little bit more pleasant, a little bit more productive for tens or hundreds of millions of people around the world, because people work a lot, first of all, and don't necessarily feel empowered by their work most of the time.
Do you still have an email address, though?
I do, and so because Slack is for internal communication, I as the CEO, and I do this stuff, I have to deal with investors and partners, I spend a lot of time in email, actually. So it's still, we're not going to kill it altogether.
You call it the cockroach of the internet. It's not going to go away.
It's not going to go away.
Can you send a private message, though?
Yeah, you can send a private message. You can send so we have a channel for doing compensation reviews or dealing with HR issues. That's private. But to the extent that you can make the communication inside the company public, I think it's a really huge win, because one of the reasons that people don't feel empowered is because they don't really know what's going on. So when we talk about transparency inside of a company, it's usually either the bosses can see what the workers are doing, or the bosses are forthcoming about what's going on, but you still get you're siloed and you can't see what's going on around you. And if you're able to just kind of dip your toe into these different conversations around the company, it can be very empowering.
But I think you and your company, Stuart, are also very interesting. They say that you're different than the other kids in the class. It's not a group of nerd, not that there's anything wrong with that, but nerd tech people. You yourself studied philosophy, and when you hire people, you say one of the things you look for. I'm not even trying to be funny or disrespectful to you. I'm not.
No.
That when you hire people, you look for people that have empathy. Why is that important in your company?
We are a very customer-focused company. So to the extent that we can make people happy using our product, they will recommend us, they'll continue to buy from us, and it's the reason that we've been successful so far. And it's very difficult to be focused on a customer unless you have some empathy. And it's also, what kind of workplace do we want to have? Where do we want to show up every day and come into the office? If we're going to fulfill that mission, make people's working lives simpler, more pleasant, more productive, that's a lot easier if you have a high degree of empathy.
Has it been hard, has it been hard to introduce this to companies, though, and have them agree to bring this in?
Yeah, so when you first sign up, imagine that you hear about it, someone hears about it today, and they go to sign up, and now they've created a team, and they haven't invited anyone yet. They've never sent a message. They haven't uploaded a file. There's nothing for them to search. There's no value, right? So one cranky pants person on the team can just put the kibosh on it. So it's a challenge to get them to make the conversion, because you can't, for yourself, decide, I'm going to use Slack to communicate with my team. The whole team has to change at once, which it's a big ask. Once they do, it tends to be very sticky. It's like people switch and that's it.
I was interested in some of your hiring processes, because as Gail alludes to, a lot of companies go to those nerd tech people. But you were actually looking for liberal arts majors. You were a philosophy student yourself. I mean, I was an English major. It was not considered the most practical of things, but you're actually looking for liberal arts students.
Yeah, no, I think we're past the point point, and there's not to say that there's not a lot of hard technology innovation left to do, but we're past the point where that's going to be the competitive advantage. You know, where a faster transistor is going to mean that your product becomes successful. We're dealing with, and we're trying to enable groups of people to work together. And if you don't understand how human beings think, if you don't understand how people interact with each other, it's pretty hard to do.
And does Slack get rid of reply all that we've said by mistake? Where we go, no, take it back.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you.
Reply all and the ability to edit messages after you.
That alone is worth it. Thank you. Johnny, football takes the field tonight as the Browns starting quarterback